played Ibiza Rocks for an hour. I went and did a bit of a back-to-back in Magaluf in one of the venues there.
Welcome to the Groove Junction. We are back for another episode. My name's DJ Matty F, and I am joined by the legendary, the man himself, the one and only Mr. DJ John Colley, everybody.
Hello, mate.
How you doing, mate?
Did you see my little chair spin?
No, because I'll edit it out.
Wasted.
Yeah, people don't need to see you spinning the chair around like a
It's a new chair. It needs spinning.
All right, whatever. Welcome along, everyone, to the Groove Junction. My name's DJ Matty F, and his name's DJ John Colley. We are the Groove Junction, the podcast for the DJ community, and we have got a guest. As promised, on last week's show, we said we got a guest lined up, and guess what? That guest has turned up, and we're going to get him on very, very soon. But before we do that, as always, we're going to hit the rundown, which is sponsored by Pro Mobile Magazine.
The Groove Junction rundown is sponsored by Pro Mobile Magazine, the magazine that's got it all. It's a game changer. They don't just do surface level reviews, they dive deep with real practical insights. And the interviews, they feature some heavy hitters sharing seriously valuable advice. But it's not just about DJ gear. They cover everything. Marketing techniques, and even the latest tech trends like AI, which is super relevant right now. Honestly, if you're serious about your DJ career, you need to check them out. And here's the best part, we've got an exclusive deal just for the Groove Junction listeners. You can subscribe right now by searching Pro Mobile Magazine and hitting the subscribe button. Just use our special code, GroovePMSUB, for a 25% discount on your first year's subscription, which is 6 magazines delivered to your door. That's Pro Mobile Magazine. Don't miss out.
Thank you, Pro Mobile Magazine, for sponsoring our rundown. So, John,
Yes, Matty.
what have you been doing?
Right. So in the last episode, right?
Here we go.
No, Matty, because because of Croatia, because you had to have another holiday.
Yeah.
Right? It flew all our recording scheduling out. Right.
It did.
So as everybody knows, last week we recorded last Thursday, and you asked me in the rundown what I'd been up to, and I told you what I'd been up to. Right. Yeah. So where do you want me to start? Because we're back to normal now.
Okay, so let's do it from Friday. Onwards.
No problem, Matty. I can do that for you. I have been flat out since Friday.
Same as last week, then.
Yeah, pretty much. To be fair, so I had you know what? Friday. I can't even remember. No, what did I do Friday?
Friday.
Yes, Friday. So I did 2 parties back to back. So I did a Levers party first of all, and then straight after that, what they'd done is they'd invited all the parents of the Levers year to come in and have an adult party. So I did the kids ones first, and then the adults, and obviously the kids were still there as well. Did that. That was Friday. Saturday was another Levers do at a school. Honestly, Matt, I tell you, I should be as skinny as a rake. I was sweating, mate. It was so hot in that hall. It was so hot dancing around.
You have lost a little bit of weight, mate. I ain't gonna lie.
Do you think so?
I think
maybe
so.
Maybe in my little finger.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're just too far away from your camera this week. But I think
maybe.
I think you've lost a little bit of timber, son.
Well, that's good because I've got a lot of timber to lose.
Well,
I'll be warm in the winter, that's for sure.
It's a big tree.
Then Sunday I did like a village fair, hosted that, which was good.
Explain what a village is to all of our listeners abroad. No, don't bother. We ain't got time. Move on. What did you do on Monday?
So Monday being today, I did another Levers do, and I literally finished that, came straight here, changed the t-shirt just to see you, buddy.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Mate, what about yourself? Have you been busy? Oh, I was busy. Yeah. No, I won't. No, I'll leave it for you.
You forgot.
I did forget.
So Friday, I was in Pop World in Chelmsford, and and then I was like, because I'm in your hometown, John, come down
Yeah.
and see me. And you did. And then you did a bit of light tech work for me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I popped into Pop World.
You did pop in. And
Bit
then
of
you
lighting.
did a bit of lighting on their system
Yep.
for me. Kept me going.
You know what, Matt? Because they didn't have a wolf mix, I was like, I'll see you later.
I know you're a Wolf Mix lover, Mr.
Love
Wolf Mix ambassador. I get that, but you know, not everywhere's got a Wolf Mix. I know, and I you know,
It was good though. It was good to see.
No,
It's good to work beside you.
oh, thanks.
No, it was because I mean, obviously, when we do the other stuff, the silent disco stuff, we work together, but we don't really talk to each other. But it was quite nice being in that massive DJ booth.
It was quite a big DJ booth there, to be fair.
Mate,
Quite
massive.
big. But yeah, so that was Friday. I was in Pop World, and then Saturday I did a club over in Buckinghamshire Way. Yeah, that was an interesting gig because I was due to finish at 3:30 in the morning, and they decided to close at 2 a.m.
Why is that?
Not many people turned up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How many does the club hold? What's the capacity?
Well, the owner was telling me that a couple of weeks beforehand he had over like 900 people.
Oh wow, so it's quite a big club.
Yeah. And I started at 10.
Yeah.
He decided to close at 2 because during the entire night we had 6 people come in.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not good.
No.
Why was that? Was there something else on in the town?
No. He. I think a little bit of lack of promotion. I think on their half, it sounded like that they had somebody in who they had a promoter in who had something planned. That promoter went AWOL, so they opened the club as a normal night, and because no one knew what was going on, no one came up by the sounds of things. So yes, slightly disappointing, and I felt for him a little bit, and especially when you've got a club owner. An independent club owner go in, you know, this has probably been the worst night since the start of COVID, or since COVID. It's tough. It's tough to hear that.
Yeah.
But from a DJing point of view, from my point of view, it was a nice little practice session, really, I would say.
Nice.
It was a nice little practice session for 4 hours. I recorded it on a USB, so I'm going to listen to that back. Just for transition purposes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Education, yeah, try and get better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was mine. Yeah. So, but
Nice.
I wanted to say it live on the podcast. Thank you for coming down and keeping me company for all of 40 minutes.
Was it as long as that? It didn't feel like that long, to be fair. it did. Honestly, it did feel like I just turned up and then like left.
It might have been. Maybe I was exaggerating on the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but no, it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Nice to see you.
Good stuff.
We didn't even finish together. See, we didn't even have a McDonald's on the way home.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No. But yeah, that was the rundown. Thank you, Pro Mobile, for sponsoring the rundown.
Yeah, thank you, Pro Mobile Magazine.
So, John, as I alluded to just before the rundown, we have got a guest on. Should we get him on?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. Looking
All
forward.
right. John, I will see you
after the break.
So please welcome to this week's The Groove Junction our very special guest, Jason Fox from Fox Pro Events. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good evening. I'm well.
I get the applause button. I forget the applause button every time.
Come on,
I'll
just one job.
Bring my own. I'll just bring my own.
I did you one, Jason. I did you one.
Thank you, John.
That's all right, mate.
No, I found it. I literally.
Yeah, look, no volume to it. Just found it though.
Listen,
Mate,
I've got all these buttons, and I'm too worried about making sure that I do the introduction correctly. And I go, I forgot the button. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Jace. Really, you've been somebody that has been in my viewpoint to get you on the podcast for a little while, for a number of reasons. Firstly, I'm just going to give you a sort of very brief introduction of what you are and what you do. You're a DJ, but you're a sort of an event manager, and you oversee, which I think is one of the big points at the moment, all of the events that student unions do across the UK. Is that right? Under your Fox events? Yeah, basically, as well as being a DJ yourself.
Yep. Yeah, wear a few different hats.
Okay. Yeah, number of hats. So let's get into it then. So firstly, I ask this question to everybody that comes on. When did you first start DJing, or did the event management stuff happen before the DJing stuff?
Well, there's the DJ came first, and there's sort of two answers to when I started DJing, because the earliest evidence of me DJing is back when I used to go to a church summer camp. When I was sort of like, I mean, I would guess from the picture, I was maybe sort of 10 or something like that, maybe even younger. And I'm there, and his name was Father Bob, used to run this church thing, and he had like a home hi-fi in the corner, and he would do a disco at the end of the day, and I would get up and want to play the music. And there's a picture of me with the headphones on behind Father Bob's hi-fi playing to the rest of the kids at the summer camp.
What age is this?
Probably like 8, 9, 10, so definitely primary school age, like probably late primary school age. Yeah, that was the first evidence of me DJing. But then when I was about, I think I was 17 or 18, and I was at somebody's birthday, like a social club or something with a mobile disco Dave, whatever. And I was just like, I want to give that a go. And I went and spoke to the DJ that was on, and I said, can I come along and help you just for free? Can I help you with your gear and your kit and help you set up and whatever? And can you just let me watch and learn and maybe teach me a bit of how to DJ? Because I just kind of fancy getting involved in it. And that's how it all started.
Okay. And how long? That's a quite. So at what point you obviously did a bit for Father Bob, and then you saw Disco Dave doing his thing. At what point did you then start pulling all that together and going, look, Mum and Dad, look, this is where I'm going with this. This is what I want to do.
I think it's always been like, there's always been other stuff going on. I then went to uni, and when I was at uni, I'd been DJing with this mobile disco guy for a while, and I remember doing it was something like a Chamber of Commerce event in Coventry, and a chap came up to me when the main DJ I was working with, I generally can't remember his name now, which is quite bad, but it was some years ago. He was at the bar and I was DJing, and this chap came up to me and said, we're looking for a new DJ for our nightclub in town. We think you're great. Will you come work for us? Now, I understand, and probably, months later or a year later, I understand the reason why he wanted to use me was because he could pay me a quarter of what he was paying his previous DJ. And within about 6 months, the venue closed. Not my fault, but it was that, the writing was on the wall in that they were trying to save money wherever they could. This young lad, they could pay literally 50 quid a night. And I was like, yeah, great. I'm doing that.
I'm in.
I'll do it. I DJed a nightclub now. Like, I was literally 18 and thought it was great. But then when I was at uni, I sort of was aware of the Students' Union and the venue that was for the students. And I went to them and said, I'm a student. This is a student venue. I think you should have a student DJ in your student venue. Can you give me a shot? And
nice
I guess that's where it really, yeah. Ever the salesman, I think, to a degree. Okay. And yes, that's where it kind of started for real. And that also is, to a point, the foundation of the next stage of my kind of events career or entertainment career, which was in being a promoter. Just because they did put me in as the DJ, and before long they were saying, that we want to get busier, we want to know what students want to do, come and help us promote, give out flyers. What do we put for entertainment? What do we put as the themes? Sort of trying to get my insight as a current student. And so I got a little bit of a flavour of what it was like to kind of shape the events and try and get more people to come along. So without really planning to, it was a bit of like an introduction to being a promoter.
So not wanting to pursue him in any way, shape or form, was this early noughties or late 90s this was going on for you?
Wow.
So I don't want to jump in and say, oh yeah, this must have been like 2000.
I guess I don't get a lot of sleep, so I probably have aged far quicker than I should have done. But I started.
That's why I didn't want to jump to conclusions, Jason.
2018
with any of that.
2018, I started uni.
Sorry, you started in
2018. 2018.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy the little bit of DJing that you did? Did you enjoy that? And then helping and promoting. I mean, did you enjoy that? Oh look, come to the student union bar. I'm DJing. Did you enjoy that side of it as much as the DJing, or does DJing did they go hand in hand?
Yeah, no, both. I mean, I've always said that DJing has remained a hobby, and my wife is very fortunate. I feel like that my hobby is DJing because I also get paid for it. Not
Yeah.
many people get paid for their hobby, and it still genuinely is a hobby. I do, and I'm in the fortunate position now, the way things are going, that I am very selective over the work that I do. I haven't held down a weekly residency for probably since before COVID, a good number of years ago, and instead I take the gigs I want to work because I then enjoy them. And so yeah, it remains a hobby for me, but I do actually really enjoy the promoting side of it, running events, organising, booking stuff. That I just kind of enjoy all of the sides of it, I would say.
Okay.
So before you started DJing in this at your university,
Yeah.
did they not have a DJ then? Was it just like a jukebox or something?
Yeah, no, there was a DJ. There was an
there
older
was?
DJ. There was the resident DJ. I think what they did was they had the main room and then they had like a sidebar, and so they put me on in the sidebar type of thing, second room, and then before long, maybe some number of months, that main DJ moved on for whatever reason, and so they moved me across, and I was DJing in the main room then on some old Denon little box decks. And if I'm honest, I think back and I can sort of remember a bit about what I was like and what I played, and I was pretty rubbish comparatively.
Hey, all got to start somewhere.
And there's something in this, and I guess a big reason why I've seen a lot of growth in the work I'm doing with students' unions and universities, and the reason why I seem to be getting ever busier all the time without really trying to, and that is because the commercial manager in post at the time maybe didn't know what was necessarily right for knowing what students want and whatever. He was sort of, I guess he was taking the feedback of the bar staff, or I don't know where exactly he saw his kind of confirmation of whether he's making the right decisions, but he didn't necessarily know what was the best thing to do. But it worked in my favour. Maybe I was better than I remember. Maybe I'm being a bit mean to myself, but I do think back, and I don't think I was brilliant. When I compare it to the quality of the widespread availability of quality DJs now, particularly for student crowds as well, and including younger DJs, I don't think I was great, but it was a place to start, a place to learn from.
Absolutely, got to start somewhere.
So the progression then from so you've always been club DJ orientated. There's never been any mobile element to it at all. It's just been purely nightclub, event.
Yeah, generally. Okay. I've done a couple of weddings for friends over the years, slightly reluctantly, and that's only because it feels like pressure. It's their one, ideally their one wedding day. You want to get that right for them, so it sort of feels like a bit of pressure in that way. But always been kind of nightclubs. Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting because obviously we're both mobile DJs. John's done club work. I'm doing a bit of club work now and again, and other bits and pieces. So it's interesting. I generally will back you 100% with what you just said about that pressure, because recently going into clubs, there is no pressure. There is no pressure at all on me to deliver what I would deliver at a wedding or a private event that I'm running at all. And I feel a lot more comfortable with that. So you are right in what you're saying. And we've talked about this on this podcast many a times around about anxiety with DJs and DJ work and other bits and pieces that they do, that does kick in, and especially for the mobile DJ. And I'm not saying that doesn't affect club DJs, but from a mobile point of view, you hit the nail on the head by going, do you know what? It's a lot of pressure doing that.
It's generally for occasions and stuff, isn't it? It's not the regular thing.
That's what I used to love about doing the clubs. You'd rock up, you play whatever you want, and you play it whenever you want. It didn't really matter. They'd come up and say, "Oh, can you play this?" It's in the list anyway. I'll play it later on, and I could just, like you both said, there is no pressure. You just rock up, crack on. Take your money and go home.
The alternative pressure is that you've been booked for, by and large, the way I understand it, is you get booked for someone's wedding or an occasion or a birthday, or there's some corporate gigs that are maybe recurring, but most of them are probably generally one-time kind of bookings. And then if it's not that great, or you're not that great for them, because that's two different things, you may not get that work again. Fine, but if you're in a club or a bar or whatever, and I've seen it time and time again over the years where venues aren't performing as well as they should, and one of the first first people to get aimed at, or the first things to get aimed at, is the music, it's the DJ. Then you lose your residency, and that's you depend on that residency. That's literally, you know, your bread and butter and your wages. So there is that greater risk, that side of things, that you can lose work, and it can be hard to find find a new gig, especially when there's so many DJs. And we're obviously going in the direction of less venues, and you know, still a similar number of DJs around. So it's sort of hard to find replacement work. So there's pros and cons, I guess.
So it's interesting you say that about clubs are reducing, or bars are reducing, DJs are sort of going up as well. So this is probably one of the big questions that we ask a lot around pricing, because from a mobile DJ point of view, and we'll probably touch onto the club bit as well, and I'd like to know your opinion on this. From a mobile DJ point of view, it's a race to the bottom. People don't know their worth and what they do, and the equipment that we buy, and the hours that we put into getting on a call with a client, doing playlists, getting to the venue, setting up. And even more for weddings, that a lot of DJs will set up, well, I do in particular, and I know John does, will set up way before the event has even happened, leave, and then come back, because no one wants DJs walking through a room whilst everyone's eating their wedding breakfast, for argument's sakes. So there's a lot more hours going into it, and DJs at this moment, and we're seeing a lot of it, don't know their true worth, and it's a case of race to the bottom, because they want, it's that hobby, as you mentioned earlier at the start. It's a hobby. We love doing it, and we do get a little bit of money for it, and it pays for a nice little holiday now and again. But
now and again.
All right, I've had 3 holidays this year. We don't need to go on about it, John. All right, but what I'm saying is the money side of things hasn't gone up. Even though everything's reducing down, the money's not going up, and DJs are taking less money to do gigs. Like, what's your feeling on that, and especially in the club, bar promotion type world that you work in?
I mean, for a long time, like at least 10 years, I've kind of been very aware of the glass ceiling around events and venues and nightclubs and stuff, particularly like around the area of student events. You sort of charge more than a fiver and suddenly it's too expensive as a starting point, like for getting into a venue. And the same with drinks and things as well. People feel like drinks are very expensive, and it feels like you start pushing higher, and there is that sort of glass ceiling, and the glass ceiling, sorry, and that's the same with DJ wages as well. I've never really, unless it's for an exceptionally long event or there's another specific reason, I've still never charged more than 250 quid for a regular kind of DJ in a nightclub where there's no equipment involved. It's just turning up and DJing on the decks that are there, or maybe taking a controller with you. But that's the same kind of top line fee generally that I was getting 10 years ago.
I know.
And I've got one of my clients now who's come to me and said, we need to pay less. And I'm sort of reluctant to. It's a bit of a hard thing. Like, you know, and it is that thing that everybody obviously goes through. And one of the reasons why it's a race to the bottom, certainly from a DJ and a charging perspective, you then sort of don't want to lose the work for the sake of what wouldn't be a great amount of money on that one gig or that one thing, but actually that can very quickly add up.
In the long run, yeah.
Absolutely. So it's sort of felt like there's been the kind of glass ceilings for a while in different areas.
A real challenge at the moment for all like I see stuff that comes out where people are going, oh yeah, we've got a wedding, 6 hours, 250 quid, and that is just
for equipment as well, and set up and everything.
You need a full rig set up, and that's just, and then people are taking that. And it just from a mobile point of view, it's really shocking to see, because those prices are like, we're going back to early 80s on those prices. You know, we're 30, 40 years ahead of this now, and nothing has really changed. And I'd love to know what the answer is, because ultimately, if we all say no, the club things is gonna stop. Or they're going to have to pay us more money. But there's always someone go, well, I'll come in there for 50 quid cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I mean, and that was me, wasn't it? When I was 18, I'm like, I'll come in. There's every chance maybe not, but there's every chance I push someone out of their gig then by saying I'll do it for that money. Somebody may have lost their residency, the person before me. I naively, not knowing the industry, just was like, oh yeah, great. I sort of didn't really question it. So yeah.
But pricing is a big thing, and we get a lot of comments, and people talk about pricing, and it's a real tough situation to be in because it's a hobby. We like doing it. Some people's hobby is their business.
Yeah.
Some people are full time in doing this, so feel that they have to like get as much as they possibly can. I've got DJs. I know DJs who are DJing all day doing brunches, doing the evenings, and then going into residencies from 9:30, 10 o'clock till 4:30.
Yeah.
And are getting nowhere near the money that they should be getting for that length of time of work. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. And I really don't know the answer.
I think
comments,
as well.
Put it down. Put your answer down in the comments, what you think the answer is to this. So, Jason, talk to me about how you and at what point did you decide to set up Fox Pro Events?
So, Fox Pro Events originally was essentially a registered company for my activities as a promoter, running my own events. So, sort of still while I was at uni, I started running some local bar nights, like pre-bars to when the main clubs were. My first event was called We Love the 90s. It was 90p entry, 90p drinks, and 90s music.
Wow.
And it was like the design I created was a cassette that was on fire, and it was cool. And what I will say, the entry prices were staggered. It was like 90p for the first half an hour, till 9 till 9:30. Then it was £2 till 10:30. It was £3 after that. Every week, without fail, the most people paid £3. Thank you very much. Smash that pricing strategy.
There you go.
And then £2 and 90p was the least, which is fine. I sort of feel for the venue because the WKD was on one of those offers, 90p for WKD. Which I think they were buying. I think that was basically at cost, to be fair. But it was sort of their investment into the event, really. And anyway, that was the start of me being a promoter. And then coming out of that was all just, I must have done it as self-employed or whatever. And when I came out of uni, I then started in a bigger venue as a promoter, working with another events company. And things sort of started getting serious. And I was then running a weekly event in a 1,000 capacity venue. So I registered Fox Pro Events sort of quite early on. And yeah, it continued until COVID. It continued being largely a promoter, a company for me as a promoter, basically. And so we'd do regular student nights. I used to run the summer ball for Coventry University. They didn't have one. So at the grand old age of 25, I thought, I've never run an event outside of a nightclub, a licensed nightclub with existing paperwork and all the rest of it. I'm going to run this pop-up event in Coventry's bombed out cathedral ruins. It's grade 1 listed. There's no power. There's no running water. There's no toilets. Like, I just went, I'm just going to give it a go. And I literally went to the event safety group at the council and said, this is what I want to do. I don't know a lot. Can you help? Can you help steer me? And I obviously spoke to some other people. And I think I spent like 56 grand producing this one night event, right? I had Becky Hill on the lineup and Fuse ODG. I wouldn't be able to afford Becky Hill now, that's for sure.
I was going to say, is this in the ruins? Is this in the ruins opposite the cathedral?
Yeah. So I think you've done the main cathedral, haven't you?
Yeah, we've done it loads of times,
Yeah, and I did it in the ruins.
Right, okay,
and
nice.
I was 25 and I had to write an event management plan, all the rest of it. Anyway, I did all this, like 6 months worth of work. I made £100 when all was said and done. And I took the bar as well. So I literally made £100 and I was honestly fairly happy with that because I'd learned so much. It was great.
Wow.
And that carried on. I mean, that got better. There was one year that paid for our wedding and honeymoon, pretty much. Like we sort of built onto it with a public tribute festival, with a food festival, with a few other bits. Like we kind of built it out, making better use of the infrastructure we were creating. Even stuff like silly things like you're hiring bins and you're hiring staging and you're hiring anything sort of what you call dry hire, bar units and marquees and stuff. Yeah, toilets. It's the same. Largely, it's the same cost for a day or a week or or thereabouts. So it made a lot of sense to run multiple events. So yeah, kind of built on and expanded on that and stuff. And so yeah, I was still DJing and I would help. I was DJing for some of the unis and I did little bits of like consultancy work or helping them with bits of events and things like that. But generally speaking, I was a promoter and a DJ, and that was kind of my life. And then COVID hit 2 weeks before that year's edition of the Summer Ball in Coventry, and when all was said and done, I kind of estimate it cost me about 30 grand. It lost me about 30 grand because of the point that I was at with, you know, committed spend and the work that had been done to create the event to that point, and some fees that I could have probably used as credit after if I'd have tried to redo it again in a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that and the fact that because of the way I was structured at the time, I got no furlough or any sort of financial support. And we also had our first child that summer. So it was pretty good, pretty testing year.
Great timing.
I came. I mean, there are positives. Like I had loads of time with my wife for a few months before we had the baby, just us and being together. That was really nice. We don't get a lot of time together anymore. And then once my son was born, I had about 3 or 4 months of just being there, completely there and soaking it up. And so there are positives to it. But yeah, I came out of COVID really like risk averse financially. I didn't really want to be risking big money, certainly on those big shows, because they were hard work. And it's also the emotional investment as well. Like when you've got a show on sale and I'm literally waking up every day or sometimes several times throughout the day, I'm refreshing it and hoping to see some more ticket sales and hoping I'm getting closer to my break even. And like, you know, you're panicking. Is it going to, you know, am I going to get the lineup wrong? And it's so hard to be a promoter. It's pretty brutal. When I was younger, I thrived on that and that was cool. And then I think after COVID, I was a bit like, it wasn't really for me, but there are lots of things I do. It was ticket selling, and that thing of whether it would work or not was the only thing I didn't like. I liked ordering bins and laying them out, and I'm into all of that. I don't know why. I just kind of enjoy it. So I came out of COVID and went, right, I got a proper job, a salary job, senior commercial manager role. So it was still kind of within the right area. It was for a university as well. So I guess that's been fairly helpful in where Foxpro Events has gone since then. But I then sort of reshaped Foxpro Events as essentially it's structured like an agency, but it's kind of, I run it like a service. So particularly with universities and students' unions, they'll come to me and say, we're doing this kind of event, we need a DJ, or we need some act, or we need an activity, or we just need ideas for something that students are going to want to see or whatever. And then I'll find things for them to fit the bill. And I'll sort of tell them the true cost of whatever it is we're booking, add a small booking fee on top. And that's kind of largely how I work. Increasingly now, I'm doing more things like consultancy or bringing other people in. I created an initiative called the Pro Collective, which is where, right now up at Edge Hill University, I've got a couple of great chaps from Nottingham Trent Uni. They ordinarily work there and that's their kind of day job in their roles. They're off on annual leave this week and they're running the bars and the venue operations for me at Edge Hill for their graduation week. So taking good people that do good things and putting them in a providing a solution for that other students' union, and in particular bringing people in where I think that it's right that I do so, like for better skill sets or better ideas, or to make sure I don't overload myself work wise. I'm very up for bringing other people in rather than just being like, I want to take every penny I could possibly get and just say I'm going to do all the things. Like I'm really enjoying bringing other people in. So yeah, Foxpro Events previous to COVID was just a promoter, and now it's a national, I guess it's a national events agency sort of. I don't like the A word. I run it like a service. I really care about what I do.
Service.
Yeah.
Let's keep it to service then.
Yeah.
And so how has that progressed then from COVID to now? What is the direction of travel for you at this moment in time with the company?
I guess the answer I should probably give here is like, we've got this 5-year plan and this is the strategic direction and I know what I'm doing. It's kind of not been that. And I think that's been the right thing to do. Like essentially it was sort of like coming out of COVID, I thought of it as like a side hustle to a point. I had my salary job. I had some friends in some universities that I used to DJ for that I would help those. There's been some kind of opportunities that have come up I've been fortunate to have where like there was a students' union that their events manager left to do something different. They tried to recruit twice, 2 rounds of recruitment, failed to find anybody good enough. And so it came to a point that they've got freshers coming up, they need to book their events. And so I went in and it was just for 1 term, and then it was a second term, then it was the 3rd term, and then the next year we did a year-long contract. And for a couple of years I was their events manager. I just worked with the venue manager where he said, this is the nights, this is the budgets, this is what I want to do, and I'll just fill it and make it kind of happen. And that's really where it started, right, with a couple of friends, a couple of people, and a couple of opportunities. And then I think I'm quite lucky as well. The students' union sector is so unique in that generally all the universities, they're doing quite similar things, but no one's in competition with each other, and they're all doing things slightly differently, but it's generally the same, and they talk quite a lot. And I think where people are going, oh, I need this, I need that, and oh, Jason helped me with that, so then I'll be passed on to one person, the next person. There's been so many referrals. And then last year that got turbocharged when the National Union of Students, who are sort of the students' union for students' unions, they all look to them for kind of governance and guidance in terms of how to operate their charities and their organisations. There's also a trading team that operate a buying consortium. So, there's I think something like 80 students' unions that all buy all of their alcohol, food stock, everything, retail, clothing, whatever, all of it through NUS. And now that makes the NUS trading team one giant buyer with, a £50 million buying power or whatever it turns out to be. And so they heard about what I was doing and approached me, and we basically wound up on striking up a strategic partnership. And so it's kind of like a two-way street. The big thing that's helping the business grow, I guess, is that if ever students' unions are looking for some help and they turn to NUS, they go, here's Jason. Certainly the events related stuff, and also starting to be more of the commercial side too. And then the other way that this works is when they get brands. For example, I did a thing with Coburn's last year. A port brand came into the consortium, had some budget for sort of marketing and advertising spend, wanted to know how best to use it. And so I just kind of advised them on a structured approach of like we did like a cocktail masterclass version that was smaller, slightly larger en masse. You could do like a tasting session, and then the bigger thing being like a nightclub takeover with branding and giveaways and silly hats and whatever, an offer on the night on the bar, ideally some free stock for the venue to help them maybe give away some drinks on arrival or whatever. Yeah. It's fairly, what feels to me like, it's obvious, isn't it? It's kind of fairly simple, but they found that of good value. So there's kind of like this two-way street with NUS, and that's really helped. In some ways, there's been direct referrals, but there's also been people that have kind of found what I've done and then gone, and works with NUS. So like that's a real solid credential, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a massive feather in your cap. Having that plan and that strategic partnership with somebody, because the whole freshers and the whole student union thing is like I've only started to see it recently as I've come into contact with you, but it's massive. For every university, it is an absolutely massive thing. And I know you say they're not in competition, but there is a little bit with certain managers. I would imagine that they are, we're doing this, we're doing that behind those conversations happening. So at what point do you go in and to a university and you go, right, or they come to you and you go, what should we do? And you go, right, okay, this is what you should do. Bang, bang, bang. I can get you this, and this. What do you think? And they go, yeah, let's do it. Is that how the whole partnership works? Like, is that how it runs?
Generally, I mean, I work in lots of different ways with. So there's a few that I will book like one or two things a year occasionally. Whether it might, I mean, the headline thing we do, and there is an absolute pun intended here, is booking talent. Because generally, I'm slightly hesitant to say this in a public forum, but generally, students' unions do get manipulated. It's a bit like, if you say you're booking a wedding, generally your costs seem to be higher than they maybe need to be because it's a wedding and it's that important. And yes, often those services do add greater value for a wedding, and that's why the costs have gone up. But also, I think we all know there are people that go, a wedding, oh great, I'm going to bump this price up and make more money. And there's a little bit of that with students' unions. And I've experienced it where people go, oh, they've got loads of money up there, so they can pay more for this act. And I don't think that's fair. I think there is absolutely a merit in, you've got to go all the way up to Scotland for a gig and you're traveling from, the south coast or something. Fair enough. There's got to be some more cost involved for that inconvenience, for sure. But by and large, I think there should be more of an equitable approach. And I guess a little bit like the real nice and natural opportunity is a bit like the buying consortium with NUS. I'm sort of doing that, but for talent, where last Freshers I did a tour with Dick and Dom, and we booked a whole bunch of dates, and therefore we've got a preferential rate because I'm waving 7, 8, 9 dates at them, and so I get a cheaper rate out of them. And then I pass that saving on to each of the unis that are involved in that. So that's kind of quite
that's
nice.
exactly the right thing to do with that concept. Is we go, look, okay, Dick and Dom, I can give you 10 dates.
Yeah.
Are you free?
Yeah.
This is the package.
Yeah, and it's also quite what's happened. I've seen the kind of tone of conversations change with agents in particular over the years, where I'm now going and saying, okay, when we come to the end of year ball season, summer ball, grad ball, some of them call themselves festivals, whatever. There's one that's called Woodstoke, which is a rip-off of the Woodstock festival name. So there's a bunch of these end of year events. That's where the most amount of talent is now booked. But when I sit down and have a conversation and say, I'm programming 14 events here and I've got 350 grand to spend across them all, you then start to find out which of the acts maybe want the volume, want to do student shows. A lot of acts don't really want to be seen to do the student shows, or they know that actually maybe the tech's not going to be so great, or the venue's going to be sort of like an old school hall that's dressed up as nice as it can be, but it's not like performing at one of the London nightclubs or a festival or whatever. So they do want a bit more money for some of the shows, and I understand that a bit, but there are some that want the volume, want the exposure. And actually on the subject of the talent stuff as well, I really strongly believe that I really want acts to want to get themselves in front of students and see them differently, because these are formative years for these young people. Like, they are our future festival goers, or our current festival goers, arguably. But what I want to see is, for example, people seeing Becky Hill in Coventry at that ball on this small stage to 1,500 people, and then next thing she's headlining festivals, and with full productions and everything, and doing stuff globally. And that I think is really cool. They were once on my uni. I mean, there's a story of Nottingham Trent booked Tiny Temper before Pass Out went to #1, and between booking him and that show, Pass Out went to #1. So then Tiny Temper was headlining their ball, and that was obviously amazing and like a big legacy piece. It was also a problem because the next year everyone's going, we had Tiny Temper last year. Now we've only got this person. I can't remember who it was. It's no reflection on who it was, but it was because of the way the budgets work. So there are challenges to it as well. But anyway, So
what the question I asked him from your point of view as that talent booker, are you horizon scanning or trying to look for the next big thing rather than getting the big thing because of those hurdles that you may face with costing and legacy of that venue having somebody big again?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things to unpick here, and I guess reverting back to your previous question, I didn't really accurately answer, but I'm going to try and answer both at the same time. In terms of like how it works, it does work differently at different unis in terms of like, particularly with the talent thing, those are bigger conversations. But yeah, there are some issues that I just do a couple of bookings for, and so it's light touch. There are some that I have more consistent involvement with on a kind of retainer or contract basis, a bit like that uni I mentioned earlier. And there's one I'm just starting to work with now on a full commercial support, not just events. So yeah, there's a variety of ways that I work in that way. But a lot of the times, there's some unis that are. So for anyone that doesn't know, a students' union is an independent charity. It's independent of the university. The universities often fund them to a degree, but they often or almost always need to generate their own money to cover their own costs. And anything more they make, if they have a great year, that money either becomes sort of cash in the bank and a bit of a foundation and a bit of a safety net, and or often both. They'll put more money towards student experience or student support, welfare, buying equipment, whatever it might be. And so a charity needs a board of trustees, and all the students' unions will have, as part of that, will have a student officer team, and they are elected each year. They are current students or they've just graduated, like they need to have literally just finished in the now time, sort of June, July time. Then they could do it a year from September, or they need to have a gap year and be an officer for a year. They would then be off uni for a year. They would delay their studies for that, and they're a full-time officer, and they are there to kind of represent students, and they could do a maximum of 2 terms. Now, there's some unis that are completely and utterly driven and almost controlled by their officer team, and so I'll speak to the events manager, who then might go to the commercial director or head of the commercial or whatever, or senior manager responsible for the commercial outfit, and then it will go to the officer team for them to decide what they want, and it will come back again. Or sometimes I'll get a list straight from the officer team that will say you really want you to look at these people. And I genuinely, about a fortnight ago, I did get asked how much Fred again would be for a student set. I mean, the last I heard of his fee, it was about 300 grand. So there's no student union with that kind of budget.
No.
But there's that slightly out of touch thing, and we've been asked in the past, like, so how much is Ed Sheeran? At a point when it still wasn't feasible, but we get these kind of crazy conversations. But then there are some other unis that are completely the opposite to that. The events manager basically just goes, yeah, I'll book that, and does that. And that's the way they work. And they'll probably inform the officer team, or they might get some of their feedback after the fact or later. But yeah, it can be quite different in kind of the way that it works. So yeah, sometimes it can be really slow, because I'll come up with some ideas and they'll consider the ideas, and then they might come back and go, okay, we like this idea that you've suggested. And I go, great, I pursue that idea. And then it turns out that person's got their dad's 50th birthday in the diary or something, and they can't make the date. So then I go, right, okay. So then I go back to that list, and it goes back to the officer team or the steering committee or whatever they might have. So there can sometimes bookings can take literally months, and there are other times where someone will go, can you book this person? And I'll send a WhatsApp message, and they'll go, yeah. And within a couple of hours, it could be job done.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there really can be.
The final point I'm going to ask about the talent side of things then. Yeah. So if you're booking somebody or booking, so one of the student unions comes to you and say, we want to put on this massive event, we want this person, we want that, and you manage to deliver that, do you go, I'm DJing? Or do you get someone else in and you just concentrate on the event planning and the management of that logistical nightmare of a massive event? Or do you go, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. That's I'm going to be on the bill for this one.
It's interesting you say that, actually, because until now, no, I have not. And I've generally, I've often gone to the events when I've been booking the talent, and I will go off my own cost and just using my own time if I've got the availability and if it works with the kids and things. But I'll go because I want to make sure I'm seen to be supporting the client and the other venue and keeping that relationship going. There's absolute value in that. There's also the opportunity to kind of network more with the artist side of things. And, to that end, I've now started working as a tour manager for artists. And so I'm talking more to like management companies and the artists themselves. Like, just at the weekend, I took Dimension to a festival down south, that's one of a sort of, almost like a bucket list tour manager gig. I'm sort of surprised I've managed to get in with someone to such that caliber of a DJ. So that's really great. But yeah, I'll often go to the shows anyway. So I don't want to be the resident DJ, because you're stuck then between the acts and you've got. I do enjoy that, to be honest. They're kind of my favorite gigs to DJ, is where you're the art of the warm up and the art of the support and getting that, framing it just right, so you get them energized and ready for this act, but you also leave in space for the act to do their thing 100%. And not kind of going all over it. So I haven't done any of that, but that's because largely until now I've kept myself in the resident DJ box. And I say resident DJ, even though, as I've said earlier, I don't have weekly residents, but in terms of the whole, you're there when doors open, you're there till the death. Sometimes that's a struggle and that's a long night, but that's kind of the box I've kept myself in. But happily, literally in the last few weeks, I've had the opportunity to go and do some guest slots. I played Ibiza Rocks for an hour. I went and did a bit of a back-to-back in Magaluf in one of the venues there. I was just in Zante last week and I did a boat party. And it's been it's been really cool to go in and kind of do the kind of guest set thing. And I've never really taken myself seriously. I've never really done social media that well. But I've kind of started to... I've had to with these gigs. I'm like, I need to get some content here and share it, because there could be some pretty cool moments. And so I've set up a bit of a dual cam app on my phone. It's really like lo-fi. It's basic, and I keep thinking, do I invest in some equipment? But I'm not going to. I've got my phone that films me, and it films the back camera at the same time, which can work well, and it can work terribly depending on the setup. The boat party, the back camera, it's pretty rubbish. You're sort of looking at the back of someone's shoulders.
Yeah, the entire time that girl. I saw that on the social media, just picking her nose, really, most of the time. But yeah,
there's a bit of that. But anyway, so I've finally sort of started, like, I'm a bit like, maybe I do take myself seriously, and maybe there is an opportunity for me to say when I booked Joe Corey onto a show a few weeks ago, and the only other thing on was an ABBA tribute. There was 3,500 students there, and I'm like, well, I could have probably just done an hour, even if I don't get paid for it. I'm not necessarily doing. I could say as part of my booking fee for an hour set and put myself on the lineup, and just because, again, I love it, and the difference and the challenge of having an hour set to fill and nail is very different to a resident DJ gig. I've never ever prepared for a set in my life. We'll just have the library of music, and I'll make it up as I go along. I kind of have a bit of an idea in my head of where I might go, but generally you are sort of making it up. But for the Ibiza Rock set, for example, obviously I prepared that. I had a list of tracks, and
I was going to ask
Yeah.
about Ibiza Rocks because that is one venue that obviously as soon as you see it on social media or any footage or TV, anything, you immediately go, that's Ibiza Rocks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's quite iconic.
it's very iconic, I think, currently at this moment in time. So because of that, did you obviously you've just said that you prepared for it slightly, but
Yeah.
that's got to be the most nervous one you've done.
Yes, I was a bit nervous, to be fair.
Yeah,
And
I mean, come on, anyone would be like stepping in to do that, I think, because of it's a coliseum.
yeah,
It's
but
a
also in two
coliseum.
ways,
In
though.
like that's how I look at it.
Yes, it is Ibiza Rocks, but also because it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I don't know about you guys, but I would rather go on to 2,000 people than I would go on to a few hundred people. You know, it was an early set. It was a warm-up slot. I guess the other reason why I sort of prepared is because I've always used Serato, or once I finish the CDs, I've always used Serato, and there's such value in that, and it's so easy and great. But I wasn't going to go to Ibiza Rocks and get my laptop out and plug all my cables in, and just USBs obviously was the way forward. And I've never used USBs before. Yeah, plonk, playlist, off we go. But then I had to sort of like make sure I over prepared, because if the next DJ falls ill or doesn't turn up, whatever, if I prepared an hour's worth of music and then no one's there to relieve me, I could have been like, so guys, do you know about Deja Vu? Because I'm just gonna have to play that all over again. So I put a bunch of songs in the playlist, and I thought I'd put a load in, and then I did do a bit of like I'm not going to say a practice set, but I did kind of DJ a bit just in my office here, and I was like, okay, I'm basically like getting to the end of this playlist, and it's about an hour. So I had to add more than I expect. I added loads, but I think it's because I moved on quite quickly. But anyway, it was a bit of a strange gig because yes, it is such a high profile venue in many ways. But yeah, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon that I started. It was 30 degrees. Everyone was either shade hugging or in the pool, and I absolutely understand that. You know, it's the afternoon, and I'm like, yeah, come on, guys. And everyone's like, we're just trying to, just enjoy the sunshine and the pool and whatever. But I just kind of kept it like a nice level of kind of groovy and accessible as well, because it was the Ibiza Anthems event. And my good friends, Dan and Nikos, who are the DJ duo Switch Disco, I've been friends with them since before they became Switch Disco. And they're friends first, but also I've booked them plenty of times and worked with them loads. I love them to bits. Saw them in Zante last week as well, just for fun. But yeah, it was they were the headline resident DJs. So Switch Disco are on, and so I've been the last couple of years to see them at their residency. So it gave me some context and a look at the crowd, and I sort of noticed before it's quite a lot of Hindus and kind of friendship groups and things, slightly older crowd to some degree. So I kept it a bit accessible. Like there was some Ibiza, things in there that weren't the big anthems. They weren't the things that I'm going to leave the boys to play later on. Yeah. But also maybe overlaid with maybe a slightly more current vocal or a Whitney Houston or something like just made it that little bit more accessible. And yeah, I mean, so Pat went on after me, Patrick Nazemi. Again, I've known Pat for years. I've booked him for plenty of gigs and we've worked together. And he's the head resident DJ for Ibiza Rocks and books all the talent there as well. So we've been in touch and spoke quite a lot over the years. He's a really good chap. And he took over after me, and he said, there's not often a dance floor at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was 15 people, but it counts, right? There were some people that were dancing in front of me, so I'll take it. But yeah, so it was kind of a strange gig in that it was that big stature, but also it was also not at the same time. So it's quite an interesting one to play.
So have things now from the talent booking element to it and freshers and all that sort of stuff, and the university that's sort of died now for this summer, getting ready for obviously restart of term time from a university perspective. Is a lot of the main work done for you now, and it's just a case of, or you just dotting a couple more I's and crossing a few more T's to get them all ready?
No, actually, in a way, no. I mean, it's very, again, with working with an increasing number of student union clients, it's really interesting how different the timelines are. There are some that started programming and planning for their freshers in December, and there are others who I haven't spoken to yet. I know I will be, who I absolutely know I will be involved in. I could be almost certain of it. There are people that have, one messaged me today. Last week I got an email to do a bunch of, I think it's about 9 or 10 events, and there's loads of stuff involved in that. We're doing some, like sax players, and we're doing food stations. I'm doing an unlimited ice cream event with them. We're doing a few different talent bookings. There's a bunch of DJs involved in that, kind of more resident DJ level. And yeah, loads and loads of different kind of themes and stuff, which is fun. But yeah, so it's still very much getting into the bookings for freshers. And summer ball season, I had 3 graduation events on last week on Friday. They were that's the end of the academic year now. That's that one really done in terms of active events. But what I will say, certainly on the talent subject, and having finished up with all the summer balls and graduation balls and whatever, what's been really encouraging is that all of the events that have invested in talent and brought in decent talent have done really well. Like almost every single one I've worked with have been like record sales, better than last year's sales, improving again after COVID, or sort of beating expectations, literally all but one. All of the ones that had talent in. There was one example of a uni who went the opposite way and dialed down on their talent, where previously I've brought in like Subfocus, Sigala example, people like that before. And this year they went for more activity led and more experience led. And they had to pull the event due to poor ticket sales, and that's the only one that's had that kind of experience. So every other event I've done, and I'm sort of hesitant to back this as a theory because it benefits me. If more people book in more talent, then I'm going to do more booking fees, which is great. But genuinely, I absolutely firmly believe that the talent is part of what's bringing students out at the moment, and it's leaning into the fact that what we need to do now is more than ever is give them things that they can't do themselves. They all have access to all music on Spotify. They all have access to alcohol, arguably far cheaper through supermarket or whatever than in the venues, and they can make a bit of an atmosphere by filling their flat with 30 people or whatever, and so that's easy. So it's about giving them something that they can't do themselves without a shadow of a doubt. So I feel like that's partly why, and so I'm hoping we get to do more talent and freshers as well, actually, because, and it feels like it already, there's been a couple of unis that have come to me and said we're going back towards talent, because last freshers, the amount of headline talent stuff I booked was far less than ever before. It was more about people on stilts and fire performers and decor and equipment and games and food, and it was far more kind of experience led. But then this year there's a few that have gone back to okay, great, we can spend some money on talent again, which is encouraging. So that's that's quite nice to see. But we're definitely, if I had to put it as a percentage point, maybe 10% plan towards what I think freshers will end up being for us this year. There's a lot to do. Wow, there's a lot to do. I used to have this life where the end of the summer ball, like I'd run my summer ball in Coventry, for example, and then I'd just run my own freshers in September. And so really, I had a summer break, had a big summer holiday, partnered with a bit of work, bit of start your marketing, start your recruitment early, etc. But really, just looking after myself. Whereas now, because I work with so many people in so many different ways, there is no lull, generally speaking. And it's just there's a lot to do at the minute. Especially when I go off gallivanting to the likes of Zante for a few days and a few other places. I sort of haven't really got time for it, if I'm honest. But they were 2 good opportunities to turn away, to pass on.
You got to do what you got to do. But trust me, I think by the sound of things, with the way the talents and way you've described how this year's gone, and potentially your predictions for the end of this year and freshers coming in, it's going to be a busy summer for you getting everything booked in.
Yeah. I mean, that salary job that I had it until December, just gone. And things got to the point where I was like, I'm struggling I'd already reduced my hours in that job. And I was getting to a point where I was very aware that I couldn't do both. It's getting sort of too busy. And so I did leave that job, and I was obviously nervous about making enough money. That's the only thing I was nervous about. I knew I'd enjoy it. I knew I had kind of enough to keep me occupied enough, and I knew I could get back to some fitness stuff and maybe just having a bit more of a life again, maybe sleeping some more, although arguably that's not happened. I was a bit sort of nervous about how it would turn out for me. And to be honest, right now I'm just looking at how I bring somebody in to the business to support, because of how busy it's got. So I feel very fortunate that things are going in the right direction for me. And there's been times where I sort of go, I feel like I'm doing all the right things at the wrong time, because you look at the news and the headlines and it's very widely known that venues are closing and things are getting worse and no one's going out and it's all really sad and it's all not great. But I've been getting busier and busier and busier. And it's been a bit odd, but actually, I think it's just that I guess people are sort of looking for more help, I guess, and more insight. So I feel really fortunate for some of the opportunities that I've had and the way things have been kind of turning out. So yeah, it's going in the right direction, and it's feeling busy.
Long may the success continue, Mr. Fox. It's been an absolute pleasure listening to you.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure listening to your story, the backstory, and where you are and what you're currently doing. It's a lovely insight, and it's something different that hopefully all of our listeners and viewers, we get them both, hopefully jump on and give us the likes and make some comments in relation to this week's interview with Mr. Fox himself, Mr. Jason Fox. All Jason's details are going to be in the bio. So go and check out all the description details there. They're all going to be there. So if you want to go and see what Jason gets up to with Fox Pro events, please go and check those out because he's doing some great things. And the DJ community, I know he supports the DJ community. That's how I got put in touch with Jason, and he's thrown a few bones my way, a few scraps, shall we say. Happily scraps. Yeah.
Not the scraps bit, but happily throw the work your way. Absolutely.
All right, okay, yeah. Exactly that. Jace, thanks for joining us, mate.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have you on again very soon.
I mean, gladly, because I genuinely feel like we've only scratched the surface here. There's a lot more to talk about. There's a lot more that I do outside of what we've spoken about. There's a lot more we can talk about in terms of the sector, and this is great.
We can definitely make this a part 2, 100%.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jace.
Been fascinating.
Keep supporting the podcast, everyone.
Hey.
Listen to that man.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen to him.
Support the
great.
podcast.
It's so good for like insight and learning bits and just it's just a good thing. So I really,
you know what, mate, I'm not being funny. But his last comment, we said like, support the Groove Junction. You know what that is, don't you?
It's a Groove Junction goodie.
We've not had a Groove Junction goodie for ages.
Yeah, but no.
Anyone that says go out and support the Groove Junction podcast, I'm all over that. In fact, I'm going to hit it again.
Yeah. It's Groove Junction goodie.
There we go.
I'll take it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I know there's going to be a lot more that we can talk about, and I think we will talk about over the next few months. Let's try and get you back on before Christmas. Let's find out how Freshers went for you.
After Freshers, yeah.
And we'll
survive.
Yeah.
Going to be a busy few weeks.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck and enjoy it.
Enjoy the summer as best you can, and we'll speak to you before Christmas.
Excellent
Thanks.
stuff.
Take care.
Take care, mate.
Wow, John, what a guest.
Honestly, I'll tell you something. At what point do you reckon he sleeps? Do you reckon he does sleep?
I don't know. He's juggling a lot. And the fact that he's now concentrating on a little bit of himself from a DJing point of view, and to go out to IB for Rocks and Zante and places like that.
Yeah. I bet he was thinking when he was saying like, "Oh, I'm trying to DJ," and I'm like walking over like a 6 foot, 6 foot guy underneath my feet with a puppet on his hand. Yeah, I bet he's thinking I could lay down there and go sleep now.
Yeah,
because he's like he don't seem that he seems pretty busy.
He does seem busy, but what I like is he's his head's screwed on and he's doing it, and he's. And it sounds like he's really enjoying himself as well.
It does sound like it as well.
And from a networking point of view, oh my gosh.
Mate, some of them names he dropped in that interview there, right?
Yep.
Joel Colley. Oh, yeah, any day.
We're definitely going to get Jason back on. We'll find out how Freshers went. We're getting back on, find out who he's booked, what went well, what didn't go well. And we'll dig into him a bit more, because there's probably loads more he can tell us.
I reckon so. I mean, university, student union, it's massive. All over the country.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere, mate. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Well, I wish him well. I really do. I hope he has a cracking summer. I really do.
Right, John. It is time to say goodbye.
Already?
Yeah. What are you up to, mate? What you got coming up?
Right. So, you know what, Matty? I'm going to enjoy this bit. Nothing.
You're doing nothing?
I'm going away tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Having a bit of time off, sir.
Yep, going away with a family.
Nice.
A little week away.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's my first holiday of the year. Only my first.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All right. No, enjoy.
Yeah.
Have a nice one.
No,
Have a
well,
nice one.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, but
Are
literally,
you are you coming back at all?
hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
week
we're
with my
getting
wife and kids. Yeah, I'm coming back.
okay because we're getting very, very close to an anniversary date.
Oh, mate, I am so. I'll definitely be back for that. Don't worry about that.
Good. So the anniversary's coming up. 2 weeks away now. And like we mentioned last week, we have got that prize giveaway. A number of prizes that have been donated to us. We'll give that away, and we'll talk about that more as the next 2 weeks happens. Really.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already, go to the reel that's pinned on the Groove Junction Pod Instagram page. So you need to go and like the post, you need to go and comment win, and you need to also be a follower of the podcast to be in with a chance of winning one of the prizes. And we will mention hopefully next week, or we may even hold it back until the actual anniversary 1 year show and let you know what we've got and we're going to be giving away. And
You know what? We're very grateful. We're not going to say who. We're very grateful for everyone that has contributed.
Absolutely, but more to come with that. In relation to what I've got coming up, I'm doing a Beyond 30 event, an over 30s event, 80s, 90s, and noughties music in Colchester, Essex.
Just up the road from me.
Yeah,
Like
up the
20
road
minutes up
from
the
you.
road.
Yeah.
won't
I'm
be
doing that this weekend, but yeah, looking forward to it. Listen, it's been an absolutely bumper packed episode this week. Loads
Really
going on, loads of conversation. It's been a great one. And next week we have got another guest lined up from all the way across the pond from the US of A. Yeah, that's all I'm going to leave you with. We've got a guest on next week. If you've got an idea who you think it might be, comment.
Yeah.
Put a comment in. Let us know who you think it might be.
This all goes back to one of our first episodes, Matty.
Does.
The
We
podcast. Going global.
We're going global. We've always been global,
We've
John.
always been global, but we're going like global.
So yeah, we've got another guest next week. So make sure you come back from your holiday, Holly Bob's,
I'll be there, mate.
Johnny Boy, and
Yes, mate.
we'll get the interview cracked into next week with our special guest from across the pond in the US of A.
Looking forward to it already.
Well, thanks again for everyone for listening and dropping in and doing all the good stuff as you do on our podcast. We're here. You know we're here. You know where to find us on all your podcast providers. We will see you same time, same place next week.
Be safe. Be lucky.
See you, everyone.